For most of my life, I thought fear came from bad things, failure, loss, rejection. I never considered that happiness could scare me too. I believed that if something good came into my life, it was meant to be enjoyed without hesitation. But looking back now, I see how often I stepped away from good moments, not because I didn't want them, but because I was afraid of what they might cost me later. It started subtly. When things went well at work, I brushed it off instead of celebrating. When relationships felt calm and safe, I found reasons to keep emotional distance. I told myself I was being realistic, mature, prepared. In reality, I was bracing for disappointment before it even arrived. Somewhere along the way, I learned that joy was temporary and that expecting it too much would only make the fall harder. The moment I finally noticed this pattern was during a weekend trip I almost didn't take. A friend invited me to join him and his family for a few quiet days by the sea. No pressure, no plans, just rest. I made excuses, work, money, time, until he said something that caught me off guard. He said, "You always say no when something might actually make you happy." I laughed it off, but the words stayed with me. On the second evening of that trip, we sat outside watching the sun sink into the water. Nothing dramatic was happening. No deep conversations, no big emotions, just peace. And instead of enjoying it, I felt uneasy. My mind started racing. How long would this calm last? What would go wrong next? How would I feel when it ended? That's when it hit me. I wasn't scared of losing happiness. I was scared of trusting it. I realized that growing up, happiness always came with conditions. Good moments were followed by arguments. Calm was followed by chaos. And eventually, I learned to protect myself by never settling into joy fully. If I didn't lean into happiness, it couldn't hurt me when it disappeared. Or so I thought. That night, I sat alone and asked myself a simple question. What if happiness isn't a trap? What if it's just a moment meant to be lived fully, not analyzed or guarded against? I didn't suddenly change overnight, but I let myself stay present. I let myself enjoy the breeze, the quiet laughter, the warmth of being somewhere I didn't need to perform or prove anything. Since then, I've started catching myself when I pull away from good things. I still feel the fear sometimes, that old instinct to stay guarded. But now I recognize it for what it is. Not wisdom, but survival habits that outlive their purpose. And every time I choose to stay instead of retreat, I feel a little more alive. And I keep wondering, how many moments of happiness have we all walked away from? Not because we didn't deserve them, but because we were afraid to believe they could last?